Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to discuss a very common scenario which most of us would have encountered. That we as QA engineers have built a strong suite of automation test cases which covers a lot of functional grounds. Then there comes a small change, and since our test case are already integrated into the CI/CD pipeline, we just let it pass through it. Everything looked good, it got deployed to prod. But then user reported that we have missed bugs like this or like this. So if you see, these bugs are very minor UI issues. It does not break any of our functionalities, but still it damages our product's reputation in front of users. So what could we do to prevent this? So one way is we ensure that every time we do a release, we let it pass through a manual checks. We see all the web pages are exactly what we expect it to be. But then also it will invest a lot of efforts and time. But one smarter way to handle this would be to implement an extra layer of defense, and that is by adding visual testing. So what is visual testing? So visual testing basically an extra layer of testing which helps us to ensure that all our important web pages and elements inside them are looking exactly what we expect them to be. So what it does, it basically takes a snapshot of your page or a particular element and compare it with a baseline image. So baseline image is like a source of truth, and it do a pixel to pixel comparison, and if there are any set of pixels which are not matching, it will fail the test case. And with the help of report, you will be able to easily identify the part of your page which are mismatching, and you will be able to catch these kinds of work very early in the stage. Okay, then let's start the implementation in Playwright, and we'll see how easy it is to achieve this using just few lines of code without needing any extra installation in our framework. Also, we'll take a demo app, that is Swag Labs, which is an open source app for everyone to practice, and we'll use that app. We will introduce a UI bug through some CSS changes so that we can show that we are able to capture when something similar happens with you on your app in production. Okay guys, then let's start implementing this in Playwright, and we'll also see how easy it is to implement this. Like, we will not be needing any external libraries to achieve this. And let's start with a fresh installation so that it also proves my point that it's very easy to set up and start the visual testing. The only prerequisite that you should have Node on your machine. Okay, and whether you have Node or not, you can check like this. If you do not have Node, you can see my video in like fast speed and just cover all the installation steps there. Okay, then I will create a new video. Playwright Visual Intro. Okay, then let's get inside, and we'll do npm init playwright @latest. Basically, I'm going to take the latest version of Playwright and set up the framework, and this command itself will does all the setup for me. Yes, I do want all the browser binaries installed, and cool. Now you'll see that everything is there. Now I just need to open the folder, and that's it. Okay, let's start. Okay. Cool. Also, I'll also show you which website we are going to take this, take an example of that. So what we'll do is we basically show you what kind of issues you could see with your web application in your production. We'll introduce a minor CSS bug there to replicate the same or similar scenario, and we'll show you how Playwright is able to catch that efficiently. Okay, so first of all, I will show you the website. The website is Swag Labs. I think for most of my videos I'm going to use that. Okay, so this, let's go. So let's go through the login page once. Okay, this is the login page. This is the website. So let's just write the correct user. So basically this combination tells you different kind of state you could achieve with these different usernames, and if I enter the correct password, it will navigate me to the inventory page. So for this test case, what we'll do is we are going to compare that when I do the login and when I navigate to the inventory.html page, my web page, like my inventory page, looks exactly as what I expect it to be. So for that, what we'll need is, first we'll need a baseline image. But if you see here, I do not have added any baseline image. So how we will add that? So to add that, we do not need to do anything additional. I am just deleting all the examples which is given. Okay, I'll show you. So what we'll do is we'll write a test case, and when Playwright will try to assert your application page with a baseline screenshot, so what it does is it basically goes to a particular location which it generates on runtime, or you pass it explicitly. It goes to that location and see with a given name whether it is able to find a screenshot to compare or not. If not, then it understands there is no baseline image. So what it does is it is designed to add the first image as the baseline image. What it means first image is when you run for the first time, the image it captures to take to basically compare. If it finds that there is no baseline image, it takes that image as the baseline image and store it to a particular location. Now when you run the same test case again the next time, at that time, now it will again try to find the image with a particular name in a particular location, and this time it will find the baseline image, because when you ran it for the first time, it added that image. Now it will take that image as the baseline image, and when your test is running, it will take the again take the new screenshot and will do a pixel to pixel comparison of that screenshot with the baseline screenshot. And if everything looks good, we are good to go. If not, then we'll also see how easy it is to identify what is breaking in our application with the HTML report, and different options it will provide you to visualize the differences in your screenshots. Okay, so let's start visual.spec.ts. So this is the I am going to import the test module from Playwright at the test. Basically, this gives me the fixture, which this is the suit I am creating. And as I mentioned, test basically gives me a fixture which sets up a browser for me. It launches a browser context and gives a page to me as well. So TC001, let's verify state of inventory page. But when you call the test fixture, all the setup which it does for you to access that particular page, you have to basically, in your callback function or the async function, you have to provide the argument. You basically, this is called unpacking from all the object it's creating it, making it available for your test. You just need page from that. And I am not going to write the code for login. I'll just copy paste so that we can do it quickly. Okay, so what it does is, till here it's very simple. I'll just walk you through. We are going to this login page. Okay, so this step basically navigates this page or to this particular login page. Then in this particular login page, this is our HTML, and in this HTML we are trying to identify these input elements and this login button through a unique locator. Here I am using CSS locator, and then once I am done with that, I am going to interact with these elements. So what I do is, I know it's an input element, so I am going to invoke the fill command, which basically sends this particular string and add this into this input element. So with this, I am able to fill the username and the user password, and then I go and click on the login button. Once I do that, I will ask my test to assert that I am landed on the correct page or not. How will we do that? That is also very simple. Playwright gives you expect module. We'll just import this expect module and will write that I expect my current instance of page. So basically it tells me that in my current tab, the page which is open, I expect it to have this URL, and I'll pass this URL. Okay. And then what will I do? After that, let's just add a timeout, let's say for 5 seconds, and we'll write the final assertion, that is compare that the current state of inventory page matches the expected state. For that also, we do not need to import anything new now. We already have access to the expect module. The same expect module gives you this ability to compare either your page or a particular element with the baseline image, right? And for that, we just need to pass the reference of the page we are in. So I am telling that my current page, whatever where I am, I want it to have this screenshot. So this screenshot basically gives you two functions. So one function takes no argument. If that is the function you are using, then what it does, it generates a runtime. It basically generates a path in the runtime. So that is the default path. Basically, what it does, it creates a path based on the file name and the test case suite name and the test title name. It appends everything together and then take the screenshot as the PNG image and store it to that particular location. Okay, so we'll see that if that is happening or not, and you'll see that when I run this test case, the test case, it's going to fail, because that's how Playwright has designed this to be, that when you run your test case for the first time, since you do not have any baseline image, the test case is bound to fail, but your error message will be very clear and it will tell you that it could not find a baseline image, so it's going to add one now, and it will also tell you the path where it's going to add. So let's just run this now, and px playwright test headed. And before we do that, since we have done the fresh installation, it will run unnecessarily on two other browsers also, which I do not want for now. So I'll just comment that out in playwright.config.ts in the projects array, and I'll also keep the trace on every time so that we can see what it is doing. Let's start. I'll also split screen so that you could see it happening. Okay. So now you see it got stuck at the inventory page because we added a 5 seconds wait, and then it took the screenshot. Basically it reached to this line and then it took the screenshot. The error message, if you could see, is very clear here, right? You could read here that snapshot does not exist at this path. So the path is made out of your current directory location and the test file name. It added a snapshot, appended this name, and then it added the suite name, and then it added the test case title. And if you could see this, right, this test case title, let me paste it here and show you. This Chromium basically tells you the browser you are running in, and this Darwin tells you the platform you are running in. So basically, when you run it on your Mac, when you try to print the platform name, it will always print at Darwin, and when you run it on CI, it will be Linux, and if you're running on Windows, it should be Windows. Okay, so what it helps is, for example, you are running on multiple browsers, right, and you are going to run the same test case, so it has to identify for which browser you are storing this screenshot as, because there could be minor differences based on your OS, based on your browser, and based on your host machine, etc. So that's why it is always advisable, when you run and create this baseline image, you should use the same environment when you are running into the CI/CD pipeline also. Okay. So this is done. Let's also see whether how it took the screenshot. So as you can see, it took this screenshot because we did not maximize the whole window. So whatever part was visible, it took the screenshot of that. And we can see, we will also verify that we are able to see this getting added to our directory also or not. So as it was mentioned there, in this particular name which matches your test file name, this is the image which is created, and now this will serve as the baseline image. So what we'll do is, when you are running these test cases for the first time, you should manually go and see the baseline image is correct or not. This manual check you should do once, or when you are committing into the GitHub repo or any repo, you should also see it that you are committing the correct baseline images or not. Because if the baseline image itself will not be correct, then your test case will become basically unusable, right? Okay, let's start. Now what we'll do, so this is the first time I ran the test case. The test case got failed, but it failed because it could not find the baseline image, so it added a baseline image. Now when I run the same test case again, what will happen? Let's see. Again, it opened the website. It is waiting for 5 seconds because we did not remove the wait, and now the test case is passed. So now you could see, since there is literally no change in the website, there is no margin that it will fail, and we can see the report also. Though this time you won't see anything specific in the report which is telling you that the image comparison looked good and all, but this is the expect statement. If you want to have a clear assertion title, you could give it here that verify the inventory HTML inventory page with the baseline image, right? You could do that also. Okay, so this is done. Now we see that the test case passed, but we want to see when something changes, we are able to catch that or not. That is the important thing. So what we will do is we will go to our website here. What we should do, we'll have to add a CSS issue here, right? So I'll first show you manually how we will do that. Let's go here. Let's go here and let's go there, right? Here, let's change this position, right? If I remove this absolute position for this CSS class, these buttons are going to shift to the images, right? To the price right now, right? So, but we'll have to do it runtime, right? So first of all, I'll show you how we could do it manually by pausing the test case before it takes the screenshot, then do the CSS change, and then let the application take the screenshot, and then we'll see whether it is able to correctly identify the difference or not. And I'll also tell you how we could add these things through a Playwright code itself. Basically, we'll inject this script before while running the test case so that it just changes the CSS property, and then we'll take the screenshot. Okay. So how will you stop the web page? So instead of wait for timeout, I am going to use pause here now. It does not need any time, and let's do this. Test edit mode. Now we'll see that the tests are going to stop. Okay, it's opened in my machine. Let me open it here, and let me open the spec element. Here I'll go to the element which we found. I think this add to cart was the element. We'll go to the button inventory. We'll remove this absolute position, and now I'll close this. So basically we just stopped our Playwright code execution to a point. If you could see here, we are stopping here right now, where we have just verified that we are on the correct page, but we yet have not verified our current image with the baseline image. But now I'm going to do that. So I am just gonna resume the execution flow, and we'll see our test case should fail now, and it should clearly point out why it is failing. Okay, so now you can see the test case failed. Now let's see how good the report is and how easy it is to read. So basically it's telling you that it expected this page to have this particular screenshot, but this many number of pixels are different, and it also tells you where the screenshot is stored, the expected one, and where the actual one, and where is the diff one. So basically it takes the actual screenshot, then picks the baseline screenshot, and then do a pixel to pixel comparison, generate a diff. So now you can come here, and now you could easily see the difference here. This is the diff image. So what it does in diff image is it does a comparison, and wherever the pixels are not matching, it highlights those in the screenshot so that it's easy for us to identify what is the change. So now you could easily see that it expected, I think better would be to go here. In actual, it was supposed to look like this. Actual means in the current state it was looking like this, but we expected it to look like this. And side by side also we could compare here, right? You could see that the side by side also you could do a comparison. And if you go to the diff now, you could easily identify the problem is in the add to cart button. So it basically highlighting the differences, that in the expect image it highlighted it to be here, and then the actual image is highlighted to be it here. Because it got shifted here, the price element also has some pixel issues, and because of that it's highlighted that also. Okay, so it basically verifies that the test case is working fine. Okay, so we saw how to use the visual testing to do a baseline to actual image comparison for page. Now we'll see how we could do the same thing to ensure that the particular section of your page or a particular element in your page looks exactly what it's supposed to be. Okay, so to show this demo, I am going to use the same website. Okay, and in this website what I am going to do is, let's say I want to ensure that this particular section, right, this particular sauce labs backpack, this container looks exactly what is supposed to be. So I am not worried about any other container right now. I just want to ensure that sauce lab backpack container looks what it's supposed to be. Okay, so first of all what I have to do is, first of all I have to find out in my elements. So basically we'll see these are list of element. In the list of element I need to isolate and find out only this particular container which holds this sauce lab backpack. So let's go and see how will you do that. So basically I need to find out this whole container. So all this is known as inventory list, inventory item. So okay, so we know this is inventory item, and in this inventory item I need to filter out by the container which has, I think we could use this inventory item description or this ID item 4 title link maybe. For now I think that is okay, right? Or is there anything else we could use? Inventory list, inventory item. Okay, cool. So we'll use that. Actually we could use this also. This makes more sense, and we could write a generate function also which could basically filter out the container based on the product label you are giving, right? So we'll use this. So let's quickly write this. I will right now add code sauce less backpack container. Let's so this container consists of other elements also. One of them is the image of bag, one is the description of this, one is the price of this particular product, and one is the add to cart button. And for right now, if we want, we could go to the each element and take the screenshot, but that does not make sense. So for now I'm just gonna take one container and take the screenshot of that. Okay, first of all we need to filter it out as I told. So as we know, everything is inventory item, so let's use that. This is the class, we'll use the class. Okay, and we'll use this filter property where we can give one more locator where it will tell that in all these, so basically what it does, it matches all the element which have this class, and in those element it will filter out based on which has this locator, right? And the locator is the inventory item name with text source level expect. Okay, so what we do is very simple. We'll use get by text and we'll pass the name. Okay, so it will give us only one container, and then so this time, to take the element screenshot and compare it with a baseline image, we are going to use the same function, same expect library. The invocation will be same, but based on what reference you are passing. So before we pass the page, so in page variable we were holding the object of type page, right? But this time we are going to pass a variable which holds the object of type locator. So basically backpack container is the locator. So now it knows that we are going to compare the locator now. So basically this expect statement, when you pass an argument to it, based on the type of argument, it gives you the method available. So this is like the IDE IntelliSense, which is able to understand based on what type you are passing, what all methods are eligible to it, right? So this is screenshot. Same thing, we'll let it create the screenshot on the directory on the default path. We are not going to change that for now, and we'll remove what we had before. Let's remove it, and we'll also write a title here for assertion, comparing backpack image for now. Okay, so let's do this. As expected, it will fail, but as we know that this will fail because it could not find a baseline image at this particular path. So it added that, right? And let's see if it is right or not. So we'll go here and we see, yes, it did. It does. It has added this screenshot, and this looks fine to use as the baseline image. So now we'll run the test case again, and this time it should pass because we are not going to change anything for now to see the happy case. And it ran, it loaded the page, and it is passed. Cool. So now we are able to compare. Instead of the whole page, we were able to isolate a particular container and compare it only. Now let's see. Okay, let's discuss a scenario where the name is static, let's say, but the price is dynamic, right? That's how an e-commerce website would be, that the price will change dynamically, and the intention for the test case which you're writing is not to verify the functionality, whether it is able to fetch the correct price from the backend, it is able to show the correct return UI or not. Here our intention is to just verify that from the pixel wise the UI is perfect. So let's say we compare this and we fetch the price has changed in the backend. When you are running this test case, your screenshot has stored $29.99, but when the API called it, or basically in the new environment, maybe the API call gives you a different price, and now it has become $39. And because of that, your test case will fail, because your test case only knows that it has to compare pixel by pixel, and even by making this minor change, it will be able to determine that okay, something has changed, and it will fail. So to avoid these cases, what we could do, so Playwright gives you one more ability that is called masking. So what masking does is, masking will help you to mask a particular section in your particular image. So for example, price is something I should not be worrying about. So what I will do, I'll mask that in the baseline image itself. So what it does is, it will add a rectangle in this price section, and you can even give the color you want to use to mask this particular section. It will do that. So what you should do it, you should update your baseline screenshot with that masked image now, so that when you run it for the next time, it will not be dependent on the price. It will just be dependent on the location of that masking bud. For example, the padding changes, the margin changes, so it will still do the comparison, but it will be a for that particular section. It will be a masked comparison, right? Masked comparison means it will compare that the rectangular which you have put is exactly at that particular location or not. That's it. Okay, so we'll try to first see how we could replicate this. Okay, so to do the replication, I think the best way would be to again add a pause statement before taking the screenshot. Wait, page dot pause, and let's do that. Okay, it is paused now. This is a debugger. Let's do the same thing. Open the console and go to this thing, and we will manually change this to, let's say, $45. Okay, so the change which we do here by tampering with the DOM elements is only temporary. If you refresh it will go away, but for our test case to replicate this, it is perfectly fine. Now we'll just run it again, and it should fail, and it did fail, though the pixel difference is very minor. It's only 199 pixels which are different, and now you could very easily see the difference it is able to find, right? It was able to find exactly where the difference is, right? You could do a side by side comparison also, and you can see why it got failed. Okay, so that's what we wanted. Now what we'll do, so now we'll have to find a way to mask it, and this is also very easy in Playwright. You do not need anything else. In the same expect statement which you were using, you have to pass some optional argument. Basically, to have a screenshot is a method which gives you a lot of optional argument to pass and tweak these parameters. So one of these parameters is the location which you want to mask. So if you see mask is the thing, in the mask argument we can pass array of locators. So array of locator means, if you see this div is a particular container. In this container there will be a lot of elements, right? So you could choose number of elements you want to hide while taking the screenshot. Not hide actually, but to mask is the correct word to choose. I'll show you how it will look like. First we need to find the element which we want to mask, and we want to mask the inventory item price, right? Okay, let's also create the price locator for backpack, because we only want to hide right now this image, the price for this backpack container. So we'll take this backpack container locator and write one more locator here, and we'll use class as the inventory item price. Okay, now this locator reference basically helps me to point out the part of my image which I want to mask, so I'll pass that. Okay, now let's say description could also be something which is very dynamic, right? Maybe product manager wanted to add tweaks the description, so it could also be different. So if we can mask that also, our comparison will be robust now. So let's do that. So basically with this I am also able to show you that in mask property of to have a screenshot, we could pass number of locators. So I am gonna create one more locator now, that is the description locator for backpack should be the correct, not it that matters, but still. Okay, inventory item price, it should be inventory item description, we use that, and this is the one locator I want to mask. One more locator I want to pass is this one. Cool. So we'll run it again, and this time we also will see one more thing, that how you can update your baseline image. So right now, this one way is very easy way, is you just go and delete this directory, so that when your test will run again, it will see that you do not have the baseline image, and it will store the new image at the baseline image. But you could do it through command line also. There is a flag called update snapshots. You could pass that, and now, so basically your test case won't fail this time, but your baseline image will change. So let's go there and see whether the baseline image is changed or not. So now you could very easily see the locators which we chose. One was for the description and one was for the price, and we masked them. And because of that, now we do not have to worry about API giving us dynamic description, dynamic price. Our test case are more stable now. Okay, so now since we have compared, so basically now since we have the baseline image, we can verify that the baseline image is fine, and we are able to see that we were able to mask these two elements perfectly. Now we should not be worrying about the dynamic nature of these price and the description in any environment we are running. But we'll also verify that, and how we will be verifying that is, we will again use the same approach. We'll do a page.pause, and we will not use the update snapshots because we do not want to update it now. We just want to add a debugger so that we could hold the execution before comparing. And again, the same console I'll open, and let's go here, and this time I'll change, let's say 29 to 49, let's say, right? And okay, we will just let it continue. Okay, as expected, the test case passed, because obviously you have in the baseline image, you are not comparing the image, actually you are just masked that area for both description and price. So you are able to see how easy it is to use this masking. It will be very handy for you, because in real time your web application is going to be very dynamic in nature, and you will be needing that. Okay, there's one more point which we'll have to compare, which we should discuss, is that I think that is by nature, by design, that Playwright, most of the assertions, like especially the locator based assertions and page based assertions, are written in a way that you do not have to worry about any polling in them. By polling, what I mean is, for example, you loaded a page, it does take the screenshot instantly, and it does compare with baseline. But in case the screenshot does not matches, it does that again and again for a period of time you have mentioned. That is called a threshold timeout. So for example, if you have mentioned that I want this expect statement to try for 5 seconds, I think that is the default setting, which you could configure in playwright.config.ts also. If not here, I think you can you can override that property here also, the timeout. For example, if I can give that I want to wait for 10 seconds. So for example, I want, before the test case fails, it will keep trying until 10 seconds are over. So it is called polling. So basically, for a regular interval, for example, let's say for every 1 second, so till 10 second, it will keep trying. So again, it will take the screenshot, it will compare whether it matches the base snapshot or not. So in what scenarios these are helpful? For example, your applications are dynamic in nature, there will be some latency. The application which we are using has no interaction with the backend, so it is not dependent on any server state or anything, right? So it is very instant. You are not seeing any latency, but in real time you will. So what will happen is, you have opened the inventory page, your URL also is right, but all the elements of your web pages are not yet rendered. So because of that, if this polling mechanism won't be there, your test cases are bound to fail, because, and your test cases will be marked as flaky, right? Because maybe sometime it does and sometime it does not. So one option would be to add a hard coded wait. I think that's what usually we do in other libraries, like in Selenium, like the noob way of doing it. The correct way of doing is using expected conditions there also. But similarly here, we do not have to write that extra layer of code also. So that is like already done behind the scene. So what it does is, it basically expects that, okay, it might take 10 seconds for this particular state to happen. If after 10 seconds also it does not reach that state, it will mark the test case as failed. So I think that is also one good thing while we use Playwright, that we do not have to worry about writing those extra wrappers, extra conditions. It handles that on its own. Okay, so there is one more thing we could see, one more parameter we could tweak here is that by default right now we are seeing that all the whenever we are running this test case, it's by default is creating a test directory or a snapshot directory in the test folder also. If you do not want that, for example, if you want that it should create a folder outside or maybe in your desired location, you could simply do that by so basically you could go to your playwright.config.ts and add a flag called snapshot directory, and you could pass the path, for example, reference images. Okay, so now what will happen is, when you will run the test cases, let's say update snapshot, so that it generate a new snapshot, you will see that a new directory gets generated, and now your screenshot will be in this, right? So basically it gives you a cleaner way of organizing and gives you control over where do you want to store your screenshots.